Hey, and welcome back to Emlyn in the Mix, Season 2, Episode 37 for the podcast. As we move along in the year, we are now getting towards the tail end of 2021. We've got some really awesome products to talk about today. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll see up on the screen, we've got our first product here, which we're about to talk about. Now, if you've clicked on this and you want to see the feature product today, which is Quantum from Wavesfactory, or you want to hear that on the podcast, then of course you can skip right to the end and we have that special feature there for you today. Thanks to our friends from Wavesfactory. However, I encourage you to stick around because we got quite a lot of amazing little products we're going to talk about today. And in fact, I had to cull some of them because there was so much to talk about. Now, if this is your first time on the podcast, then welcome. This is about music technology, audio technology, studio technology, music gear. If you like that sort of stuff, then you're going to love this podcast. You'll love me rambling on about that as well. I'm going to give you as much information as I know about these products as they come to hand. And this podcast, of course, is to inspire you and get you excited about music technology. If maybe you've lost that excitement or you just, you want to know what's new and exciting, then this is definitely the right place. Thanks so much to all of my regular listeners, and let's get stuck straight into the podcast. So this first one here comes to us from the team it is Narcotic, Lunatic Audio. I was about to say it the other way around. The product we're talking about is Narcotic, and it is from Lunatic Audio. Pretty interesting name. I don't know what these guys are up to, but sounds a bit ominous. Maybe ominous is not the right word. Anyway, this plugin is not ominous. This plugin is amazing. Actually, it sounds so good, and that's why I wanted to feature it as our first product here on the podcast. It more or less is a multi-effects processor plugin, Anyway, let me just read a little bit here about it from Lunatic Audio. So Narcotic is the ultimate way to add motion, movement, and pulse to your sounds. At its core, Narcotic is a multi-effect. However, it boasts some industry-leading, unique, and powerful features that give it the ability to transform your music in ways you've never heard before. Now, we've all heard that before, but I have had a listen to the demos. They sound pretty unique. It does remind me a little bit of some of the Sugar Bytes multi-effects plugins. However, it has a little bit more of a sort of movement XY thing going on here. There's a lot more motion. If you're watching it here on YouTube, you can see the plugin sort of, there's a bit of a visual or an effect here. You can see it moving around, which is pretty cool indeed. Let's have a quick listen to a demo here, and this is on a vocal. This first demo I'm going to play back for you, and we'll try it on one of the other demos. Have a listen to this.
I have been feeling something. Where have you been?
So that's a dry vocal, of course. There we go.
Escape to mountain when in our skin, and then we can come back to the same thing.
Here's another preset on vocal.
Escape to mountain when in our skin, and then we can come back to the same thing.
Another one here.
Escape to mountain when in our skin, and then we can come back to the same thing.
Yeah, I think that example for the vocal is pretty good. Like, it just gives you an idea of what it actually does to the dry sound. And of course, it's there to add movement and motion. If you like to add movement and motion or 3D depth to your sound, it sounds like this plugin is actually going to do it. Let's do one more demo here. Let's have a look. What have we got? We've got synths, guitars, drums, orchestral, bass, chops. I'm gonna have a listen. I want to have a listen on drums. So here we go. Here's a drum demo here. See what it can do for us. So there's that's your dry audio there. Here we go. That's cool. That's nice. Here's another preset. That's mad. Yeah, there's a lot of movement on this one. Mo Spank. Interesting preset name. let's listen. I'm enjoying this plugin. Let's listen to one more. I'm very curious actually to see what this Shrooms. There's an option on the plugin called Shrooms, and you know it's going to be trippy. So let's just have a listen to Shrooms. Last demo here. Here we go. So a dry synth, and then they turn the Shrooms. Whoa. Okay, yeah, it's just trippy effects basically. Alright, I get what Shrooms is. It's basically a randomizer for the plugin, so it'll randomly select some parameters, random parameters, and then play that back for you. Look, it's pretty cool, worth checking out. You know, you've got your Jordan Rudesses and those sort of people have checked it out, and they're saying some pretty cool things here about it. And yeah, there you go. Check it out from Lunatic Audio if you want to add a bit more depth or some 3D motion to your sound. Sounds like Narcotic is going to do it for you. An interesting plugin available for Mac OS and available for Windows as well. I believe it's got an intro price of $99. So if that is, you know, we have a plethora of plugins as it stands, but if that interests you, then check it out. All right, let's move along to our next one. Comes to us from Cherry Audio. Not a stranger to the podcast, although they haven't been on the podcast in a little while. And they've just recently announced, and this is coming to us from kvraudio.com. Check out kvraudio.com for all of the latest in music technology news if you like to read about that, if you like to listen to it, of course. Always come over to the Emlyn in the Mix podcast. All right, so Cherry Audio has announced the release of Mercury 4, a polyphonic synthesizer plugin for macOS and Windows, available in VST2 and 3 AU and AX plugin formats. And here's what they say. Mercury 4 is a detailed emulation of one of the best sounding and quirkiest polyphonic synthesizers of the late 1970s, the Roland Jupiter 4. It's the rarest and most sonically unique of the fabled Jupiter series, and we've gone to great lengths, this is Cherry Audio of course, great lengths to recreate the subtle and not so subtle nuances and character of the beloved classic. Every aspect of Mercury 4 has been expertly modeled upon a vintage Jupiter 4 originally owned by Greg Hawkes of the 80s new wave band The Cars and played on their double platinum 1981 album Shake It Up. In Greg's words, Mercury 4 sounds like my old Jupiter. It's nice to have it back. That's pretty interesting. So they've actually modeled this off the famous Cars, the band The Cars, Greg's synthesizer, the Jupiter 4, which is absolutely mind-blowing. I love that there's these companies, especially little boutique companies. Well, maybe Cherry Audio is a big company, I don't know, but it's definitely a boutique one in my mind, going out there and doing these beautiful emulations. Let's have a quick listen to the Mercury 4 here. I've got a demo for you. Let's have a quick listen to this. Yes. If you love that old school polyphonic sound, this would be good actually. If you're making synthwave, you're making vaporwave, which seems to be, you know, really coming into fashion right now, you would really love the sound of that synth. It sounds so authentic, so unique. And I know recently actually we've covered a few polyphonic synth emulations. In fact, last week we spoke about the SQ80, although no, sorry, that was a wavetable synthesizer. There was another polyphonic synth we spoke about last week. I've already forgotten. That's how much we cover on this podcast. But you know, there is a plethora of those sounds. This had a nice, unique, very, I guess, yeah, it's subtle but very vintage sounding polyphonic sound. If you like that sound, this might be worth checking out. Cherry Audio is a little bit of a smaller company. In my mind, again, it could be this massive company, but I doubt it. And they've got a nice price on these plugins. They're not too expensive. I mean, it's a $39 intro price. So if you like that, Go and check it out from Cherry Audio. It's the Mercury 4, the little write-up here on kvraudio.com if you want to check out more on it. Let's move on to our next piece of news. It comes to us from Native Instruments. Now, these guys, of course, no stranger at all to the Emlyn in the Mix podcast. They've just dropped a new expansion sound pack. I like featuring them because, you know, it's not often that we get... I mean, there are times when Native Instruments just spoils us with news, but at the moment, it is a little bit dry on the Native Instruments front, and being that they are probably one of the biggest audio technology companies on the planet, then we've got to talk about it when they drop gear, and this is no exception. Although it is software, it's not actually new gear. I am hanging out for some new hardware MIDI controllers. If they can fulfill my dream this year, Native Instruments, please, if you listen to this podcast, I want to see MPE on their controllers. Can they do it, or is that patented to some other company? Who knows? I can't believe they haven't done it already. Anyway, I digress as I do on this podcast. Guitar. It is electric touch, not guitar-drenched R&B. Guitar-drenched R&B is what electric touch is. And let's have a little read-up of what this expansion pack entails. So effortlessly soothing guitars and keys, hip-popping drums, and floor-shaking bass, electric touch delivers a main line to the modern R&B sound that's pushing today's pop music into new frontiers. Dip into a go-to blend of hard-hitting drums mixed with hyper-playable chord progression that will infuse your tracks with hit-making, velvety, smooth bounce right off the bat. I mean, who writes these? Honestly, these guys are fantastic at marketing. Like, to get the description of sound, it's not that easy, and these guys do a good job. Electric Touch was created in collaboration with Laze, the producer, and Kevin Boog Scott, whose previous collaborations include Snoop Dogg, Jay-Z, Bone Thugs and Harmony, Talib Kweli, and Keith Sweat. Okay, that's pretty big name drops right there. What do we get in this expansion? Well, we get 402 loops, 318 drum samples, 303 one-shots, drum kits, we got 60 battery kits, 51 machine kits, synth presets, you get 4 massive presets, 11 Monarch presets, and then machine exclusives, you get 173 patterns, 8 drum synth presets, 3 sampled instruments, and 9 projects. Wow. Okay, that was a lot. I was trying to rip through it as quickly as I could for you there. Let's just have a quick listen to an audio demo. Okay, I'm just going to shut up so we can hear it. Here we go. Nice. That's nice. That is large. Love the bass on that. And the guitar samples sound dope. They sound really good. Let it kick again. Here we go. Man, Native Instruments coming in with the heavy hitters. Wow, electric touch. I really like. I'm gonna have to bounce on this. This is dope as. Like, it sounds really good. Nice summery feel as well. I know that in the Northern Hemisphere, the summer's time's pretty much wrapping up now as we move along, and almost Halloween is here, and we're gonna see all the Black Friday and Cyber Monday deals coming soon. So if you're not subscribe to this podcast, you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, definitely do that right now, because I'm going to be speaking about all those deals as much as I possibly can. I know last year when we had the podcast, we covered, and the podcast went for ages. There was so many products. If you go back to this time last year or when we did the Black Friday deals, it's just like product after product. So I'm going to fulfill you with all of those amazing things. But yeah, electric touch. Wow, I went on a tangent there, but electric touch sounds mind-blowing. And well, look, in Australia, in the Southern Hemisphere, we are going to go in summer. This has got pure summer vibe sounds. I really love it, and it sounds like they've done a great job, as they always do. Native Instruments dropping bombs. All right, let's move along to the next piece of news here. And this comes to us from IK Multimedia. It is, of course, the group buy. I've spoken about this on the podcast probably for the last, 5 or 6 podcasts. There's no kickback from me whatsoever, from IK Multimedia to talk about this. I just think this is an amazing deal. And if you haven't jumped on it already, then you should. This is amazing. So now IK Multimedia, and I don't know how long they're going to do this. They really want to celebrate their 25th anniversary here by giving away free plugins. And the group buy is now at a challenge. If they get the 20,000 participants before the end of September, they're going to extend this group buy throughout October. And what that'll mean is they'll probably reach their last tier, which is basically 25 plugins for free when you purchase one plugin. So currently as it stands, I think the group buy is at 16,000 participants, which basically means when you buy one plugin, you get 16 plugins for free. So essentially getting 17 plugins for the price of one, which is really crazy at the moment. If you like IK Multimedia's products, then you definitely need to check this out. I'm not going to talk about this much more because I've already spoke about it on the podcast, but I thought it was definitely worth a mention to keep you updated on how that is going. It's still rolling along there. And yeah, happy birthday to IK Multimedia. What a way to celebrate. All right, let's move along to the next piece of news here. This one is actually a piece of hardware. We haven't featured hardware on here for a little while. It's coming to us from musictech.net. If you like music technology news in reading form, musictech.net will fulfill. However, it will never fulfill the audio realm when it comes to music technology, because that's where you go to Emlyn in the Mix podcast, of course. All right, so this one here, Nothing Ear review potential Apple beating earbuds at an amazing price. Now, if you've been thinking about getting noise cancellation earbuds or earphones or headphones, then this could potentially fulfill that void for you if you haven't got them already, or you're looking to upgrade. I know that Apple recently announced some new AirPod Pros. I haven't even seen those yet. I mean, these potentially, they're saying in this review here that they're Apple beating earbuds. So how is that even possible? Let me just have a quick squiz here. Look, some people might not like this design. You know, some people prefer the Apple white. This is sort of a black with a gray. Coming from the Music Tech here website, we have the verdict here. I'll just quickly read you. So you got amazing price, small, comfortable, and stylish. I do like the size, looks very small. Pleasing sound quality with active noise reduction, battery life, and quick charging of buds, which has the case, so you can do the quick charging in the case. Some of the cons are ANC causes a bass boost, and a custom EQ curve would be welcome. Doesn't have those features there. The market for consumer headphones and earbuds has exploded over the last few years and has become dominated by just a few very big name players, i.e. Apple. It's a brave startup that launches its inaugural product directly into the path of these behemoths. Yet this is exactly what Nothing, this is the company, has done with their new Ear One earbuds. So once set up and paired with the device iOS, Android, Windows or Mac, popping the buds into your ears switches them on and tells your device's audio system to use them. Now, weighing in at just 4.7 grams each, the buds have a smart, well-proportioned design with an attractive charcoal and white color scheme. While that is subjective, of course, if you don't like that color scheme, then you're not going to find them attractive. However, the tips are made from a super soft silicone that is exceptionally comfortable even when wearing the Ear One for long periods, and there are 3 different sizes of tips included. And the main body of each bud houses an 11.6mm dynamic driver, while the shape of the bud itself has been carefully designed, ably assisted by audio designer specialist Teenage Engineering. Now, this is why I wanted to mention it, because Teenage Engineering actually helped with the audio design of this. This is huge. So to enhance and tune the sound. So if Teenage Engineering are on board, you know these earbuds are going to be good. And that's essentially why I'm mentioning it on the podcast. I do not usually talk about crappy, or I try not to. Sometimes maybe I do, but I essentially try to look out for the good stuff for you guys. I'm here, I'm sifting through, I'm trying to get you the best stuff for the week. That's what I do for you guys. This is my service to you. Costs you guys nothing. All you have to do is listen at this stage anyway. And yeah, so this looks pretty cool. Some of the key features here we have is Bluetooth 5.2 connectivity using AAC and SPC codec, 11.6mm drivers tuned by Teenage Engineering. That is pretty cool. Active noise cancellation and transparency modes, touch sensitive stems with multiple gesture support. So, you know, like if you have AirPod Pros or you've used them before, you know, you can touch them, turn them on and off, slide up and down, turn them up and down, so forth. Find My Earbud feature, which rings like a sound if you've lost them, so you can find them if they're under your bed sheets or wherever the hell they are, under your car seat or whatever. Up to 5.7 hours of earbud battery life, 34 hours with charge case, 3 tip sizes provided, and splash and sweat resistant to IPX4 standard, weighing at 4.7 grams. Just seeing if we got a price tag here. Here we go. So they're coming in at £99, which will be 99 USD. Probably, gosh, it's probably $200 Australian. That is cheaper though than the Apple AirPod Pro, though I haven't seen the new price. I haven't seen the new AirPod Pro price drop yet. Worth checking out. If you like Teenage Engineering, you like what they've done. I know I certainly do. Some of their products are amazing. We've got, you know, on the channel here, on the YouTube channel, we've got some new products actually. We're going to talk about these in a future update. You can't see that on the podcast, but we have in our hands the Pocket Operator KO. It's been out for a little while. We're going to feature this. We've also got the other one here. What's this? The Rhythm. So we've got the Rhythm, those little pocket operators. If you're watching on the screen, you can see that. Hashtag subscribe over at Emlyn in the Mix on YouTube. Just do that, guys. Like, if you listen to this podcast and you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, shame on you. No, not really shame on you, but you should definitely subscribe. And also, when you listen to this podcast, you might be like, hey, I need to see that, or I need to visualize, what is Emlyn actually talking about? Well, that's why I have the YouTube channel. This podcast goes up now as a video. I used to do these live, but I can't do them live because I can't wait to start doing them live again. We can have some questions and so forth, but I've just got 2 young kids and it's just too crazy trying to do this live. Who knows when I'm going to get interrupted at any stage. All right, cool. Let's move along. Last piece of news before I get to our feature. This comes to us from our friends at Roli. Shout out to Roli. Love these guys. I know that recently there's been some news going around about the company going into bankruptcy. So we'll see what's going to happen with that. I do love Roli and I really hope that, I believe they were purchased by Lumi, or I'm not entirely sure. The Roli brand does actually own FXpansion as well. So I really hope something good comes out of what's happening over there at Roli, because I really, truly love their products and I love their software. It's some of the best. The software is some of the best emulated software on the planet, without a shadow of a doubt. That is my opinion, of course, but I do strongly believe that. And their hardware is also on par with that. Like the hardware, you know, your Seaboard. I haven't actually played with the Seaboard. I have played with it in a store, actually. The Seaboards are great. The Lumi keys are amazing. Their hardware is incredible. And you just got to check them out. I love Roli. I love what they do. And they seem to be still, you know, giving us products, as we're going to see right now. There's a new Ambient Darklight, which is basically a new expansion for the Equator software, I believe. Yeah, Equator 2. So I'm just going to read it here off the Roli website. Set your productions aglow with the intricate auras of Ambient Darklight. From master sound designer Lufram, this Equator 2 and Roli, it's a Roli studio soundpack as well, features a blend of deep textures, lush pads, dark synths, and delicate keys to get you lost in. Conjure a halo of mystery and emotion around the tracks as the ambient soundscapes unfold. So it includes 40 by sound standard presets, 40 by MPE presets, and MPE, of course, being MIDI polyphonic expression. If you haven't been following the podcast, you wouldn't know what that is yet, or maybe you already know what that is. Anyway, I'm just going to shut up. Let's have a listen to this amazing performance here. We're not going to play the whole thing. It is 9 minutes long, but I'll play a minute or two. It's really nice. Here we go. Ambient Darklight. So it's compatible with Equator 2 and Roli Studio Player. fun here, MIDI control action. There's some MIDI polyphonic expression action. Beautiful. Wow, loving this demo is really nice. If you just want to chill out, you want some study music, I'm just going to turn it down in the background there. Maybe doing a bit of meditation. Damn, that is a good demo. Look, if you like ambient, we cover everything here on the podcast, don't we? We were looking at dance music at the start of this, then we did some trap stuff, and then we looked at guitars, and we looked at booty bass, and now we're looking at ambient. I mean, we cover the whole spectrum of music on this podcast. I'm proud that we get to do that. I love music. You know, I think it's subjective on of course it's subjective on what you love and what you hate. But I think it's really powerful when you can appreciate all genres of music. And that's what I've tried to do throughout my life, fulfilling. You know, I will listen to death metal and I'll find the cool things about that. Or I'll listen to hard gabba techno from the early 90s and I can appreciate that. I think it's really cool having such a large spectrum of music that we feature on this podcast. And I hope that's why you come to this. There is no, you know, taking sides of genres or, you know, loving something over another thing. I mean, essentially it is pretty much we are looking at only electronic music, but I love all this and that's, you know, keeping it progressing into the future, music technology and so forth. All right, well, that's my probably second or third ramble for the day. Let's get on to our feature because the feature's really cool. So the feature's coming to us from Wavesfactory, and of course Wavesfactory, a bit of a more boutique company as well. Shout out to Wavesfactory. I'm really excited to share this with you guys today. So it is their new plugin. It is called the Quantum. I'm just pulling it up here on the screen for you so you can have a little bit of information on what it entails, and then we're going to do an audio demo. So the Quantum is an audio plugin that separates an audio signal into its attack sustain parts. And with 16 built-in high-quality effects that you can apply to each path independently, Quantum redefines what's possible in transient shaping. Now you might be thinking, oh no, not a transient shaper, that's a bit boring. But I can tell you this is like a transient shaper on steroids. Like it has so much 3D depth, and you're going to see when I play around with it in a sec just how cool it sounds. We're going to go from some live audio demos from Emlyn and Mix. Can you believe it? Exciting indeed. So let me just read a little bit here. So beyond the transient shaper, a transient shaper is an audio processor that can increase or reduce the transients or tonal parts of a signal. It has become an indispensable mixing tool on every studio. Quantum automatically detects and classifies the transients of your signal, separating the sound in two paths, attacks and sustain. And the level of control you have now is unmatched, giving you the possibility to add effects to each path separately before joining them back together. So when dealing with innovation, we struggle to classify our own creations. Is Quantum a transient shaper? In a way it is, but when you compare it to a regular transient shaper, you fall short as it is so much bigger. Quantum is innovative and it doesn't fit into a simple category. So let's go back here, just having a quick look. Quantum. So this is from Andy Bradfield. Quantum is literally bending space and time. I love it. It's going to be one of those plugins that find uses for you didn't know existed, and it is great. So there's a little quote there. For some reason, there we go. My screen had gone way too big. I couldn't see everything here. So smart transient detection. So it has like an AI, I think, or some kind of AI. Quantum is a state-of-the-art transient shape at its core, and we use that technology to automatically detect transients. By doing so, we use artifact less, more natural result than other methods that can sound digital and full of artifacts. And Quantum takes away the need of a threshold parameter, which you would have to set for each track. That way you can work faster and get pristine results. So I think, I can talk about this over and over, but I think we just have a little play with it, because as a transient shaper, it is amazing. So I've got it up here in Ableton Live. I've got it on the default preset here. Let's have a play with it. We'll go through basically what we'll do here on the podcast and on the video here is we'll just go through the presets and we can just have a listen to the different varying results that we get from that. Just checking the podcast still rolling along there. Beautiful. All right, let's do it. Let's play. So I got a beat here, which I chose this beat because I think it's good for showing off this plugin. So here's our little beat here. Great. All right, then let's go into our first preset here, Acoustic Drum Magic. That's giving us a bit of distortion. We'll just go through the presets. Wow, that's quite nice. That's with beat presence. Where is it? Let me just chuck this up here for a sec. So if I turn that off, yeah, that's our dry, and I'll turn it back on. That's really cool. That's got the beat presence. It makes it a bit snappier. Let's go through a few. I'm going to go through a few presets now and a go. Wow, that's nice. That really boosts the mid to lows. Boomy attack. Nice. Now you got some like effects, bubbles. That's really cool. Now, of course, I can adjust the parameters here on the fly. We've got this weird sort of bubbly effect, which I think is an LFO or something going on with maybe a high cutoff or a high resonance filter going to make that. I'm not entirely sure how it's doing that, but it sounds really cool. So yeah, I can change it on the fly here so we can increase the attack. We can have it off. Oh yeah, there you go. Get those bubbles come in harder. Turn the bubbles right off, hey? Just have the bubbles? Whoa! Whoa, hang on a sec. How is it doing that? That's crazy. It's just getting those transients. It's applying that effect to it. Whoa. And I can bring the drums back in. I mean, this is an odd sort of sound effect. Bring my drums back in. That's really cool. It's actually separating. I don't know how it's doing that. Let's keep going through. That's a nice effect. Centered synth. Wow, that's just isolating the kick. I'll put the drums back in, turn them completely off. I can make it real snappy. I can solo. Oh, that's cool. I can just solo. There's the drums without the kick, I think. Yeah, it's got the sustain on the kick. Wow, this is an impressive plugin. Look, I did play with this plugin before the podcast, but I didn't go this much in depth, and this is quite impressive. It's a little bit more impressive than I realized. All right, so that's the controlled kick. Let me change up the loop here for you. Let's go back to default, and let's get a different loop here going, just so you're not getting bored of the same old. Let's find something. I'm using EXO here if you're looking on the video. You get my beats. Nutty. I like that, nutty. Let's go to our factory presets. Let's jump in a bit further and have a look. Hello Earth. What's this? Alright, so you can get some pretty out there effects. We can increase the volume on the attack. I really like that, having the two separation or the sustain. Turn the attack right off. So you've just got the sustain like that. Wow, that's really cool. Nice indeed. Let's go through a few more. Just transients, okay. So in this preset, we've turned off the sustain, and we could just turn the transients up. Now, can you believe that is this? I'll turn it back on. You ready? What? Whoa, this is some black magic here. That's crazy. Seriously, this is why I love doing this podcast. Like, audio technology is just getting better and better. Like, I remember when we looked at RX8 and my mind was blown, and actually RX9 is coming soon, which we're going to have to look on this channel. But this is like another one of those moments where I'm like, how are they doing that? Like, what black magic is going on in the background here? And it doesn't seem to be too CPU intensive, which is nice for a change, you know? Like, sometimes these plugins you get, which are doing all this crazy algorithmic sort of, you know, crazy stuff in the background to isolate and mute and yeah, doing all that, and they're usually CPU hogs. This looks pretty good. Like, with it on there, I'm only getting like 3%, and that includes the RAM that would be getting used by EXO. Here, my beat processor. Let's just change up my loop here. How good is that? This is just transients. I mean, there's a little bit of artifacty going on there. I know that when we read on the website, it says not too much, but it actually is pretty clean considering what it's doing. Like, I put my beat back in. Like, listen to the amount of work this is doing. You ready? That's nuts. All right, we'll go through. Let's go through. Let's have a listen to a few more presets, I guess. That's nice too. I like that. Mono. That's amazing. It's got stereo tools. Increase my phase on my waveform here. Just have my attacks. I could turn the... Interesting. Like, what you can do with this is way more than just a transient shaper. Way more. And the fact that you can turn the attacks and the sustain, like you can play with the volume, is just so interesting and get really interesting results. You got all these effects down here as well, which you can add. We can add delay. Wow, this is hands down a very impressive plugin. So this could be ultimately not only a transient shaper, but you've ultimately got this incredible effects unit. Well done, the Wavesfactory. Gosh, this guy's, honestly, they come up with some of the most innovative plugins. But I have to say that this one too, I'm really excited because actually the CPU usage is really nice. Not too crazy. I know I just mentioned that before, but one of the earlier plugins I remember we looked at, the cassette, I think it was quite a CPU hog, although they did fix that in later updates. They did actually get that corrected. But to see this straight off, this is the first iteration of Quantum, and being this good, amazing. So you got drive and character as well, which is really nice. So you could turn down, just have it on your sustain, and get some really cool results. It's going to change my beat here. I actually don't mind that. It's kind of... Wow. That's crazy to think from this plugin I can actually mix it. Alright, I'm gonna literally, this plugin is amazing, guys. You need to check this out. Quantum by Wavesfactory just blew my mind. I did look at it before the podcast, but I don't. Generally, what I like to do, I like to save the wow factor for when we actually do the video and we do the podcast. And this has blown my expectations, far superior than what I originally thought. Wow, this is going to get incredible reviews in my opinion, because the depth on this thing is incredible. Like, you've just got a bunch of effects, and of course Wavesfactory does a really good job on their effects. It's a very nice GUI. It's a vector GUI. It can be made smaller. It can be made bigger. You can see that. I don't know. We're getting some red line when we push it back, but that's okay. Amazing sounding plugin with some really cool character. And if you want to, explore playing with effects, being able to mix, change the sound, this does it all. Like, this is more than a transient shaper indeed. Like, this is like a cool little effects plugin you can have in your arsenal to make some interesting results. And not only for loops, like you could use this on vocals, you could use this on synthesizers. I didn't show you in the examples today, but definitely you should try it on different things. Check it out. It's Quantum from Wavesfactory. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me. That was our feature on the Emlyn in the Mix podcast today. My mind is blown. I'm so excited to share with you guys new awesome software and hardware when we get the hardware like this on the channel. I love doing this podcast for you guys. I hope you enjoy listening to it. Make sure to subscribe to Emlyn in the Mix on YouTube. You probably hear those little ads at the start and the end of this podcast, but I really appreciate the subscriptions that we get over there. And there's plenty of awesome content over there as well, as I share all the awesome stuff we should look at on the podcast usually goes up on the YouTube channel as well. If you enjoyed this podcast, would love some feedback. If you can do that as well, leave me 5-star, 4-star, 3-star, 1-star, whatever you felt this podcast deserves. I read them all. I really love the feedback. And if you want to reach out to me, you can simply do that. Emlyn at emlyninthemix@gmail.com. We did set up that email there for you guys. Forget the first one I tried to mention there, but we did set that email up for you guys so you can reach out if you're a developer, you want to get your software or your hardware looked at, or if you're just a listener and you want me to look at a piece of software or hardware and you want to get my opinion on it, I would be more than happy for you to reach out. Slide into my DMs there. And until next time, guys, next week, I just wanted to say we have some super duper exciting news. I'm embargoed to talk about it right now. I already have it. We can't talk about it till next week. So make sure to come back next week for that exciting new product. And pretty much every week we're going to have an exciting new product. All right. I'm going to stop rambling. I'm going to finish the podcast now. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me. Peace out. Boom.